well, I've trashed my bookshelves all in the name of bringing you some recommendations. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm doing a video that has long been requested and I finally got around to doing it. I have done a scavenger hunt through my bookshelves and I'm going to bring you, I think I've got 13 or 14 books to recommend you based on the prompts that you guys gave me on Instagram. So a couple of days ago when I'm filming this, I went onto my Instagram stories and I left a little box and I asked you guys to give me some book prompts. So like I said before, I'm very active over on Instagram, so please come and join me over there if you're interested in what I'm up to. And I quite often use my stories to kind of get ideas for videos or to get prompts for stuff like this. So please head over there, check me out there if you're interested. So yeah, I asked you guys to give me some prompts and boy did you. I had like 50 odd responses. I've never had such a big response to a question. And I've kind of gathered together the most popular ones and the ones that I could answer with my limited bookshelves. And we're going to go through these prompts together and I will show you some books. So I know a lot of people have done this video before and usually you kind of put in footage of you hunting for the books. I don't have that sophisticated a setup. I tried to do it and it didn't work. So I've pulled the books. I'm going to tell you what the prompts were and I'll show you the books. And that's kind of how we're going to do it. So I hope that's okay. I don't have a huge collection of books. I do have a substantial collection of books. And if you've seen the bookshelf tour that I did last year or the pictures that I sometimes put up on Instagram on my shelves, you'll know I do have a fairly decent collection. However, I don't have like 1,000 books to pull from. So we're going to do the best we can. With the parameters that I put on myself, it had to be a book that was physically on my shelves and that I'd read and enjoyed so that I can recommend it. And I tried to go for ones that I don't show all the time. There will be some, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that will be familiar. But I have tried to pull some that I've not spoken about for a while. So let's go through this together. The first thing that you guys wanted to find you was a book with fruit or food on the cover. That came up quite a lot. Clearly you guys know I love books about food. So that came through a few times. So the book that I have gone for has a lot of fruit on the cover, and that is The Sin Eater by Megan Campisi. This is historical fiction. Look at that cover, it's just gorgeous. I also love the spine. And this is about a sin eater, as you can tell from the title, and a murder mystery that's going on in an alternative Tudor London. With these books, because I've got so many and I don't want the video to be super long, I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. Obviously, you guys can find the information for yourselves. And also, I've probably talked about these books in other videos. So this was my answer to that prompt for fruit or food on the cover. As you can see, we've got grapes, we've got pomegranate, we've also got a human heart, just casually thrown in there. So I thought this was a really good match. It's also just a really pretty cover and I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed all of these books. I'm not going to keep saying that. Okay, prompt number 2 was a book starting with V. This was really hard, really hard. I literally have one book on my shelf that starts with V, and technically the title starts with the, but I was at a point I was like, we're just going to slightly stretch this prompt because otherwise I've got nothing. So the book that I've gone for is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. This is a lovely sprayed edge edition, a little bit faded on the top, sun damage, what a joy. So yeah, this was my answer for that. I also really, really love this cover. So The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett starts with a V, tick. Okay, number 3, animal on the cover. This came up a lot as well, along with food. You guys know I love books about animals and cats. So I also had several of you asking for cat on the cover, several of you asked for animal on the cover. So I put those two things together and I've gone with the number 2 Feline Detective Agency by Mandy Morton, which has a cat on the cover, one of our main characters. This again, it's a cozy mystery set in a world where everybody is a cat. Not really much else to say about it. I love this series. It's very cute and cozy and I really enjoy it. Okay, number 4, number in the title. This one was also surprisingly hard, but I have gone for 3 Hours by Rosamund Lupton, one of my favourite thrillers of all time, set in a school during a school shooting in the UK. In the snow, and I feel like this is one I'm going to do a reread project next year, and this will definitely be on the list because it's been at least 18 months since I read this, so I definitely want to go back and reread it. But yeah, if you're looking for a really gripping psychological thriller, I would recommend 3 Hours. Okay, next, set in the Southern Hemisphere. Now, this showed a real gap in my reading, so what I want you guys to do, if you can recommend me some books set in the Southern Hemisphere that you'll think I'll enjoy, and I will add them to my reading list, because I was looking at my shelves, there weren't many, And I know I said I was going to talk about books I don't talk about often, but I did pick this one up because this is set in Argentina, which is in the Southern Hemisphere. This is Tender as the Flesh by Agustina Bastarrica. If you're new here, hi, hello. This is one of my favourite books of all time, and it's a book about cannibalism. Welcome to my channel. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get books about cannibalism, but also cozy cat mysteries, because apparently this is how I roll. So yeah, I've got a real gap in my reading like repertoire, so please recommend me some more books set in the Southern Hemisphere, but for now this is my pick for that prompt. Okay, the next one was Person on the Cover. This was easier than some of the other prompts, and I had quite a few I could have picked from, but I've gone for this one because this is a short story collection and it's one that I really enjoyed. Obviously I really enjoyed all these books, that's why they're still on my shelves, but it's just not one that I talk about loads, and that is Love in Colour by Bolu Babalola. Again, I got this lovely sprayed edge edition, and you got the two people on the cover, and as you can guess, this is, you know, short stories about love. It says mythical tales from around the world retold, and I read this, I want to say like last summer, and thoroughly enjoyed this. I still haven't picked anything else up by the author, which I need to do. They are on my to read list, but yeah, people on the cover, and just a cover I really enjoy. I love how bright the colours are. Okay, next was Foiled Letters. This was a much easier one. I've got quite a few books with foiled letters, but the one that I've gone for is a book I've not spoken about in a while, and this is Dear Reader, The Comfort and Joy of Books by Kathy Renson-Brick. And again, this is going to be, I think, on my reread challenge for next year. I've not read this. I read this in 2020 during the height of lockdown, and it was just such a lovely read. This is non-fiction, and it's Kathy talking about the books that have made her a reader, and I just loved it. And also you've got all this beautiful foiling as well, so that filled that prompt. Okay, next was a book with French flaps. And I was like, oh, if you don't know, I'll show you the French flaps in a minute. I was like, I don't have many books with French flaps. And then I was like, actually, I have a whole series of books. Well, not series. I've got a whole canon of this author with French flaps. So the one I'm going to show you is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This is the Vintage Classics edition. I have all of her books. I'm lucky enough to have all of her books in this edition. And they have the most beautiful French flap. So anyone that doesn't know, that is a French flap. I don't know why it's called a French flap. Presumably it was something the French invented, but I don't know. Tell me if you do know in the comments. And what I really like, I should have picked up two of these books, is you see the design on the inside here. That's the design on the outside of one of the other books. So they all kind of link up together. They're also really cute size. I have never and will never read these actual editions because I will ruin them because we all know that I crack spines. But I just love having them in my collection, and I've read all of Jane Austen's work in other formats, in other books, in audiobooks, all that kind of stuff. But these actual editions are for looking at rather than reading, but they are very beautiful and I love them, and they have French flaps. So there we go. Okay, next is a book that will always make you smile, and I really like that. It was a really nice, lovely prompt. And then I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be talking about books I don't talk about all the time. However, this is a book that will always make me smile in a really twisted way. That's Sweet Pea by CJ Scouse. And yes, this is a signed edition. Is this one of my signed editions? Yes, it is. Because my lovely husband wrote to the author a while ago, and she sent me this little signed thing, and it says to Vicky, with thanks for all your tireless free PR work on Sweet Pea, you the best. And then she signed it by CJ Scouse. So, you know, I love that. That makes me smile too. This book is about a female serial killer. So again, hi if you're new. Come on in, you're welcome. We're following Rhiannon, who is a female serial killer, and you're in her head the whole time while she's living her life. She's got a boring desk job. She's got a boyfriend that she's not really in love with anymore. She's got a little dog who she adores. And she also likes to randomly kill strangers. And it really makes me laugh, this book. I've read this probably 4 or 5 times now. I reread it during lockdown and it really helped me. I had it on audiobook and I would put my headphones in when I was doing the food shop. And back then, in the depths of COVID, the food shop was incredibly stressful. And so I'd put my headphones in and just listen to this story while I was going around the supermarket, finding it all very stressful. And it really got me through a really tough time. And it's just always a book that will make me smile. It is inappropriately funny. You're inappropriately on her side the whole time. And it perfectly fits this prompt. Okay, next one. Sorry, I've clearly got like cat hair or something on my nose. Apologies. Professional booktuber. I am not. Okay, so we've got a few left. Next one was plants or flowers on the cover. Again, this came up quite a few times. Lots of you asking for plants and flowers. So this was one that sprang to mind first. I do have a few, but this was the one that really sprang to mind. And this is the Ophelia Girls by Jane Healey. Look at it. It's such a beautiful cover. Oh, that's the thing falling out telling you that it's a signed first edition from Toppings. When I went to Toppings Bath for the first time, this was what I bought myself as a little memento, because I had an arc of this from Book Break, so thank you very much to them. I loved this story. Again, this is one I want to reread. This is historical fiction, but you've also got stuff in the modern day, so it's sort of historical fiction. So we're going back to 1973, but then we're also in 1997, and it is about kind of that feeling of being 16 in the summer, where it's really hot, the days feel really long, and you're kind of discovering yourself. And I absolutely adored this. So yeah, this is my pick for flowers or plants on the cover. Then we have chapter titles. So this is one from Hilary at Melted Books, and this was hard. I'm not gonna lie. I rifled through so many of my books, and very, very few books have chapter titles these days. Then I got to this series and I was like, I should have gone here first because it's middle grade, and often, or more often, middle grade books have chapter titles. So the one that I have gone for is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, because this has chapter titles. Also, it's just a really nice time to show you this beautiful hardback edition that I own, with its, you know, beautiful naked hardback, and the end pages, and the fact that it's signed. It's one of my favourite belongings. Sorry, that was a bit smug. But it does also have, if I can find it, chapter titles. So, for example, prologue, Spring of One. And it obviously does that all the way through. I don't want to show any others because spoilers. But yeah, this has chapter titles. Middle grade, one of my favourite series of all time. Desperately waiting for the fourth book, which is hopefully, fingers crossed, coming next year. And it fit the prompt. So thank you, Hilary, because that really made me think, and I had to have a good rummage through my books. Okay, no, the next one was matching initials. So my initials are VS. The only author that I know of that has VS is V. Schwab. Now, I am stretching it because my middle initial is not V. It's not E, sorry. But I was like, this is the closest we're going to get. So going with V. Schwab, the only book of theirs on my shelves that I have is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Love, love, love this book. It's also very pretty, and the initials pretty much match. So if you know of any other authors with initials VS, let me know, because I don't, this is literally the only one I had, and even that is a bit of a stretch because of the initial, and the middle initial. Okay, two left. So Olivia Savannah asked for, from Olivia's Catastrophe, asked for hardcover with foil under the jacket, and I was like, Olivia, you just want me to rummage all of my hardbacks, which I did. And actually, thinking about it, I should have come to this book immediately because it's one of the most heavily foiled books possibly in publishing history, and that is Cersei by Madeline Miller. I mean, just the cover alone is absolutely stunning. Then you take off the stunning dust jacket, and what you have, like I said, is probably one, well, it's definitely the most heavily foiled book in my collection because it looks like this. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. The back is blank, which does always make me a bit sad. Like, why didn't they do this on the back? But anyway, money probably. But yeah, I think that's fitting the prompt because look at all that foiling. It's absolutely gorgeous. Also one of my favourite books of all time, and it definitely fit the prompt. Okay, last one, and we're on like 13 minutes, so we're not doing badly because I was worried that this video was going to be 5 hours long. The final prompt was 5-word title, and oh my goodness, this was so hard. I cannot remember who gave me this prompt, but this was really hard, like really hard. And it also made me realise that weirdly, like a lot of the books on my shelf has 4-word titles, not 5. However, I found this one, and this is a book I haven't spoken about for ages. This is The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I was suddenly sat here like, is that not enough words? This is Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. It also weirdly has French flaps. Having said that the Austins were the only one I could find, this also has the French flaps. Look at this, beautiful. And this has 5 words in the title. And I think it was one of the few that I have. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's too many. Like, it was a whole thing. I was counting words. My husband thought I'd actually lost what was left of my marbles. But this has 5 in the title. Pat Barker, Greek myth retelling or Greek history retelling, told from the perspective of women. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Need to reread it at some stage. But yes, 5 books, 5 words in the title, and I haven't spoken about it for a while. So winner, winner. Okay, so those were the prompts, or like I said, I had like over 50, so I kind of amalgamated them and got the most popular ones and the ones that I could actually meet on my shelves. Somebody asked for sorry, my nose is very itchy. Somebody asked for a book with a lighthouse on the cover. I don't own one of those, so if you can recommend any books with lighthouse on the cover, that would be much appreciated. Also any books set in the Southern Hemisphere, because clearly there's a massive gap in my reading, which I need to fill. If you're to this point in the video, let's have a lighthouse emoji, if there is one. If not, you can just do like a shiny star or a light bulb or something to do with light. That would be really cool. Just let me know that you got to the end of the video. Please subscribe if you'd like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.